Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to talk about top level statements and how to using them in C#9. To get started, let's create a new project. I'm using .NET CLI here, and let's create a new console project just to show you how it works. If you type .NET new, you get a list of all the possible templates, and to create a new console application we can always use this short name, and let's do that. Let's create a new folder and call it top level demo and cd into it. Let's clear everything and use .NET new and go for console. I didn't specify any names here, and that's why the project's name would be the same as the folder name. Waiting for it to finish generating the necessary files, then we can go ahead and edit the project. Okay, for this demo I'm going to break my own rules and use VS Code. VS Code is a great tool, but I usually use Visual Studio. So let's go ahead and run code dot. Code dot runs Visual Studio in the current folder that you are in, so that it makes it easier to work with your projects if you are using the command line like this. And so the welcome page, I don't want that. We have a new project. There is only program.cs and a CS project. If you check the CS project out, the target framework is .NET 5, and to use C#9 and this top level statements feature that I'm going to talk about, you should be at least on .NET 5 and later versions, and the .NET 5 is the last version of .NET that is available. So if you're checking this a couple of years later, you are probably fine. Let's create the necessary files to run the C# project, and now we are good to go. So we are going to talk about top level statements, and they are actually very easy to use. To use them, you can always come here and remove all these boilerplate codes like the namespace, the program class name, and this void main method, and let's remove them all, and let's remove these two, and remove all the unnecessary spaces, save everything, and let's run the project. I'm going to run it without debugging because there's not much code in here to be debugged. I'm waiting for the extension to be activated and run the project. And as you can see, the project builds and the compiler works, and you can run the project without any problem. And we are going to see the result just in a moment. Yes, there's a hello world. So that's actually the new feature of C#9, that you can remove all the boilerplate code from your program.cs or from one file in your project. It doesn't have to be the main method or the program.cs file, but it can only be used on one file in your project, and probably it's gonna be the program.cs file because that's where everything happens. Usually, at least that's where you set up your project and start up any services that you require, like ASP.NET Core. But you can do it on other files if you really like to. So if you are curious like me and you want to know what happened to the main method, we can always disassemble the binary file that has been generated and see what went into it. So to do that, I think we need ILDASM, IL disassembler, and the easiest way to find it is to search for developer command prompt in your Windows 10. It comes with Visual Studio, but I think you can download it separately. So this is the version I'm using. I can use ILDASM directly and paste the path to my file. We are going to use the DLL file because it's in such a way that you can disassemble using ILDASM, and you can see that the class is here and the main method is here. It's just generated in the background. You see, there's no magic happening, and what you see in here matches with some previously written code and gets generated at the end, like any other classes that you use in C# language. So it's just a shortcut, or we can call it a syntactic sugar, which C# is doing a lot in recent years. So that's it. On the other hand, you can add classes in here. Let's add a class and call it to create class. You can use this type. Let's call the class book, and it can have properties like ID and properties a string like name, and you can create a new instance of that class and change the ID and the name to be something learn C#, and you can use it in this console. Hello world. Let's add another console right line and go with b.name, and let's save everything and run it again. So basically you don't need the namespace and the main class or main methods class, but if you need to add another class to this top level statement, you can always do it. So the last thing I want to talk about is how to use args, because we have this argument that you can input through CLI or command line interface, that we don't see it anymore in here. Let's go ahead and add a for each snippet, and I can call this arg, and I want to use the args. Let's call it this way and save it, and then let's use console to right line this thing arg. So you want to go through all the arguments and write them in command line. Let's you can build a project in here using .NET build and CLS it. Then go to the folder that we have. Let me take the path and cd into it. Now we can use this top level demo and put some arguments in here, like hey code next welcome, and you can see that I have a space here suggesting that this is a different argument, and just the same as any command line interface that you use, like the .NET command line. You can add some parameters and send them to your application, and as I enter you can see that we have all the arguments that I put in here coming back from this for each loop that I created. So if you need to use arguments in top level statements, it's totally possible, and the arg is there. So that's how you use top level statements in C#9. I think I covered all the things that you need to know about this feature. I don't see many people using it. Maybe in a couple of years, this could be something that many C# developers be interested in using, but now it's just a syntactic sugar for me, and most people don't care about these things. They just want to use the same old ways that we have been using C# in many years, but this could also be useful to teach C# language to beginners, because you don't have to talk about the namespace, the void, the main method, the class. You can go ahead and write your code and it runs. If you want to make a sorting application, or create a sorting algorithm, or try the if-else statement and create simple applications just to see how everything works in C#. It's a great feature, but for experienced C# developers, it's just nothing new. There's no value, not much at least, to care about and use it daily. So that's it for today, and thanks for watching.